Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Hit the bell, subscribe. We have new content coming out daily. Make sure you subscribe. God bless you guys. You know, I got in this debate recently. It was a spirited conversation with a former DOJ guy. He spent his whole life admirably practicing law, Mr. Speaker. And he said, no, the rule of law will prevail. He said, and I said, respectfully, that country doesn't exist anymore. It used to. You had a great career and you swore an oath to a constitution. But Mr. Speaker, I find this with some of the people that go on cable TV and they say, oh, well, you know, here's the strengths of the indictment and the weakness. I said, it's all a fraud. You're giving it too much legitimacy, Mr. Speaker.
I'm writing a book right now on the four indictments, because when you take them together and then you put on the other side Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden and Hunter Biden, you realize how deeply corrupt this country has become and how they're basically prepared to destroy the law in order to destroy Donald Trump. I mean, that's what it comes down to. They are willing to destroy
the constitutional tradition, the tradition of the Constitution. Right. They're willing to throw out everything post 1787 and 1791 to destroy a single presidential candidate.
Right, and we do have the one thing that's absolutely vital. We still have an election. I've been talking with various people. I believe this will be the highest turnout election in American history, and I think that what they're doing is alienating the entire middle, and that Donald Trump will be dramatically stronger than he was in either 16 or 20, because there are a lot of people who may not be for Trump, but they're for the Constitution. They're for the rule of law.
You know, I think that's the only argument, because, you know, I hear from moderate Republicans, I hate Trump, but framed of, do you think he's being treated poorly? Oh, yes. Anybody on the center right, anybody in the middle, they can acknowledge that this is you could use whatever phrase you want, Rubicon, a precedent that we never said. I do want to ask you, Mr. Speaker, you are a master historian. In American history, have we ever seen the government use the law against a political dissident in so many different places, different jurisdictions, in lockstep harmony with what we're living through right now? Have we ever seen anything close to this?
There was a very brief period in the 1790s when the Federalists passed the Alien and Sedition Acts and were trying to lock up Jefferson's supporters. It collapsed totally. People repudiated it. It was part of what destroyed the Federalist Party. About a year and a half, 2 year period there. This was, remember, there's a French Revolution going on.
Yes.
There are all sorts of things happening. And then at the end of World War I, the Wilson administration went crazy, and you had what was called the Red Scare, and they locked up people. They did put former socialist candidate for president in jail for what he had said, because he was anti-war, and they locked him up. That's the only other time I can think of where you've had this kind of effort, and that collapsed. And by the way, in both of those cases, the lesson the American people took was that they would not tolerate the rule of law being broken by politicians in their political fights. And in both cases, the lawbreakers were severely punished electorally. In 1800, Jefferson becomes president, defeating Adams, who had passed the Alien and Sedition Act. And in 1920, the Republicans win a gigantic landslide, repudiating Wilson's approach.
So, Mr. Speaker, this is the debate then on the right, and I'll tell you where I land, which is it time to start indicting them? I say yes. I say that we need to start to make some of these Democrats be investigated. However, you're also saying, wait, hold on, we have an election, which is the ultimate referendum on this. And I'm not even suggesting we should push the boundaries of the interpretation of the law. But, Mr. Speaker, I got to be honest, it bothers me at a fundamental level when I watch MSNBC and they're gleeful. They're joyful when they see these indictments. They feel as if they are the untouchable. So how should we think about that?
Well, first of all, I think Speaker McCarthy is exactly right. We need to expand into an impeachment inquiry, and let me explain why. An impeachment inquiry gives the House an ability to ask a lot more questions of a lot more people and issue a lot more subpoenas. I think phase one of this, and this is one of the lessons of what happened to Nixon and what did not happen, for example, with either Trump or with Bill Clinton. I mean, you can impeach in the House if you have a majority, but it doesn't go anywhere in the Senate. And in both cases, they were in a sense vindicated because the Senate wouldn't convict them. I think that what you want to do first and what happened to Nixon. It took about a year and a half, but gradually you want to draw all this out. That's why I'm absolutely adamant that the Republicans in the House have to issue subpoenas for all the financial records of the Clinton Foundation, which will begin to move us in the right direction. Frankly, they should issue subpoenas for the 51 intelligence officials who signed a totally false letter about Hunter Biden's laptop. I mean, I think you're right, but I think our interest should be calmly and methodically to apply.
No, I hear you. I'm not. I appreciate that, because I'm not a calm and methodical guy, because I'm sick of seeing 81-year-old. No, I'm just being honest. And you need all parts of a party, right? You need the activist energy.
Right.
And so, but then let's focus on the election, which, Mr. Speaker, I do believe that this election is one of the bigger than candidate elections we've ever seen. We don't see that ever. If I were to, 2020 was a mess, but one of the brilliant kind of, let's just say, designs that the Democrats did is they turned it into almost an election of a referendum, a vote of no confidence, if you will, right? Bigger than Trump. Are you tired of, it's almost, are you exhausted? Vote for Biden. Or are you exhausted? Vote for Biden. I don't think they're going to be able to pull that off. Now, as far as the mail-in ballots, I do see Republicans, including our advocacy organization, Turning Point Action, getting involved in early voting. And I think that is going to increase our chances and actually embracing voting month. We also have no labels that might be on the ballot in Cornell West, which could make things unpredictable and very interesting. But, Mr. Speaker, you think that this will be the most turnout we've ever seen. Traditionally, the kind of prevailing orthodoxy is that would help Democrats. Why do you think that would actually help Donald Trump?
Well, it helps Trump because starting in 2016, he switched the Roosevelt coalition. If you're a high school graduate, you're probably for Trump. If you're an Ivy League, PhD, you're probably for Biden. That is an exact reversal of a half century of American politics. And every evidence we have is that Trump is getting stronger. And the more they persecute him, they're turning him from a political figure into a national historic figure. I mean, he's much more like Alexander Solzhenitsyn or Nelson Mandela. He's a political leader being persecuted by the establishment.
Yes.
That changes everything. Because what I say to Republicans who don't like Trump is simple. You're going to have a choice. You can vote to sustain the corruption, or you can vote to break the corruption. There's no third choice. Now, if you're willing to give up America and have it become a totally corrupt third world banana republic, vote for Biden. Or if you really believe that America's future is at stake, then whether you like Trump or not, he is the only alternative to the corruption. And I think that's what this is going to come down to.
I think that's so smart. I'm going to tell President Trump he has to write the MAGA archipelago. If so, which
that's a great line. That is a great line.
Thank you. You feel free to use it. So you said something also fascinating, Mr. Speaker. You said that even if Trump is actually serving prison time, it should not matter. This is another objection I get from some Republican donor types who I think really mean well. I want to say they don't necessarily have the spine I wish they would have, but they want to see America saved. They're not trying to actively destroy the country, but they're terrified, Mr. Speaker. They say he's going to be in jail. We must seek other options. How should we think about that? About a minute and a half remaining.
Well, first of all, there aren't other options. He's going to be the nominee by March 6th, right after the California primary. And that's just a fact. Second, the country will be in a rage. My prediction is if they forget jail, if they actually get him in a court, you're going to have 15 or 20 million surrogates who volunteer to be local Trumps to go campaign for him because he can't campaign. I mean, these people have created a nightmare for themselves. They have invented a figure bigger than Donald Trump, and that's what Donald Trump has grown into.